Alrighty, we are back. Sammy, what's going on? How's it going, my
Elevation
dude?
Nation, happy Fortitude and 15 Thursday. Parker, happy Thursday to you. It's great to see your face.
It's definitely great to be back. Another week of elevating. Unfortunately, up in New York City, I feel like I forgot what it looks like to have the sun out because the rain has been coming down so hard
Yuck. I feel you, man.
for like the last 5 days. I now have a cold from it. Maybe the cold came from the 18-mile run in the pouring rain. I don't know. I don't believe in that. I don't want to believe in that, but maybe, just possibly, it came from that. What do you think?
Yeah. You know, I'm no doctor, but maybe you should wear at least like a shirt next time. I don't know.
Well, no, because if I wore a shirt, this short shirt is just going to get waterlogged, and then it's just going to make me colder, I guess.
Do you, man? I don't know. I'm no scientist. But yeah, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. It's becoming that time of season. I have on a sweater. You have on a sweatshirt. It's almost fall, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Summer was fantastic. It flew by. It always does. But it's just the Jewish New Year. It was just Yom Kippur. Repented for our sins. Parker, I'm sorry for the sins I committed against you this year. I didn't get a chance to call you yesterday and tell you that, but I love you. And
Is that
I'm
a
looking
thing
forward.
that you do? You call people?
That is a thing I do. I talked to James earlier today. Talked to my family. It's what you do to the people you love, Parks.
Just not
But-
me.
Just not you. I talked to you enough. Figured we'd
All
get
right,
it
well,
live on the pod.
let's get into the topic of the episode today.
Let's do it.
I
What do we got?
Elevation Nation, I like to read. Sam likes to read, and I have a lot of books. You should see my bookshelf. It is overflowing right now. My roommate, fiance, JJ, does not like the overflowing of books. We might need a bigger bookshelf at this point. But recently, I bought this book called The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. And it's a book made up of a bunch of excerpts that he wrote just during times of his life that have helped him think through certain things. And he wrote it to help others think through, certain things, to his point, the comfort book. So if they need comfort, they can open it up and just read a nice little excerpt. So I read one and I'm going to read it to you. The title is called Minds and Windows. Self-awareness can be hard. Your mind is not always to be trusted. It sometimes lies or plays tricks or doesn't give you the full picture. It can convince you that you are terrible. A mind is real as a mind in the same way a window is real as a window. But that doesn't mean the view you see through the window is the full view. Sometimes the glass is dirty or clouded or rain-specked, and sometimes the view is obscured by a big lorry that is parked right in front of it. The window could also be entirely misleading. For instance, if your only view was through a red stained glass window, you might perceive the world to be as red and forbidding as a Martian desert, even if there was nothing out there but lush green fields.
What a beautiful metaphor.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I read that last night and I was like, yep, we're talking about that one today on Fortitude and 15.
I want to add to that, Parker, and I'm excited to get into it with you. You're also the only one that can truly, fully comprehend what that window looks like, feels like, and seems like. No one else can really put themselves in that perspective and see exactly how you see out that window.
Never. There's no one, and they will never be able to be that way. No one will ever know how you feel entirely, how I feel entirely.
Does that scare you? Are you ever like, because we're both pretty deep and introspective people, and I would also say we're both pretty strange and quirky in our own ways. Are you ever like, wow, no one is ever going to fully understand what goes on in my brain? Obviously, JJ comes super close, and your family comes very close, but isn't that weird, almost off-putting, that like no one's fully going to comprehend the exact mix of emotions and experiences that you have?
Never. I mean, think about how many emotions and thoughts and feelings you have throughout an entire day, and then think about how many times that you are in a position where you're displaying that vocally to someone else, but then obviously non-verbally as well. Small percentage of the day, right? Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. How many ideas, how many thoughts does your brain have? It's your subconscious mind just rolls, man. There's never a time where you're
Nonstop.
really not thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And feeling. To your point about being scared, I think this is part of growing up and maturing and realizing this. When you're younger, you think your parents know how you feel, in a sense. You rely on them to know how you feel. And then when your parents are like, oh, no, tell me what you're feeling. Why do you feel this way? But you grow old enough to realize that you need to vocalize and you need to be able to show that so that they can just get a glance of what you feel. But this excerpt, Sam, is about self-awareness. This has nothing to do with what other people feel about you. It has everything to do with how you see yourself. So let's talk about that.
I thought I was a little bit, but
I mean, like
not.
the idea is like, how often do we cloud our own judgment? How
Yeah,
often
I mean,
do we
nonstop.
cloud the way we see ourselves? And
Yeah.
if we see ourselves one way, is it truly the way that we are?
Have you ever listened to your voice back, aka listen to the podcast?
Every single podcast we've released, 264
Sounds
episodes.
so different than how I think I sound right now. You're always going to be a little bit different and see things a little bit differently in hindsight, looking forward, reflecting, watching a video, reading an excerpt from a journal. The mind is constantly changing based on chemical reactions, mood, emotions, what happened that day, what you ate that day, how much sleep you got. There's such a complex concoction of different permutations that go into making you feel and see the world in a certain way. And that's why I'm obsessed with introspection and self-awareness and therapy and self-improvement and elevating, because I think at the end of the day, there's not going to be some pill I can take that helps me figure out me. But if I can articulate that better, if I can understand why I'm feeling or thinking certain things, I almost can trick the window to see things how I want it to be seen. Maybe I want it to be a red
And
day.
that's what I'm saying. Maybe as much as you're saying it's a blessing, isn't that also sometimes a curse? Is that you're tricking your mind to see the way that you want to see things. In some way, you could be lying to yourself because no one is validating that that's the way you should be seeing it or not. You're tricking your own mind to think that way. And that's why self-awareness is so freaking hard, because you can believe one thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is objectively true.
I guess you're right. It can be a blessing and a curse.
Like, Sam,
Because-
you could think that you are the best boxer in Washington, D.C. because you just won your last 5 sparring events, whatever you want to call it. And you could convince yourself that. And then you could go down a rabbit hole. It's like you're telling yourself this truth. And in your mind, that is the truth. No one can deny that from you until the truth is revealed in a new experience where you believe it yourself.
I don't know why my mind went here, but it's like serial killers or people that are like hearing
Jesus.
voices. Like that's their perception.
I mean, we're
That's
not going
their
to be
reality.
comparing yourself to a serial killer right now.
No.
You-
Maybe.
Serial
But-
killer goes. All right.
People's perceptions and their realities, to your point, Parker, can be misconstrued, can be weaved and crafted in certain ways. And who are we to say that we're seeing things in the right way? So I'll give a little bit more heartfelt example. My roommate, an elevator number, I don't know,
101.
Matt McPartlin. Thank you. We love this show called Welcome to Wrexham, about this football club overseas, and we're learning about some of the people in the town. And one of the big super fans, she has autism, and she's talking about her experience with learning and developing her, understanding of autism. And she said, I wish people wouldn't call it a disability because this is really my superpower. And I thought about that for a second. Her perception of what we call a disability, because Perhaps she doesn't have the same social cues that we have, or doesn't feel the exact same emotions that we do all the time. To us, we say that's a disability. To her, it's a superpower. It allows her to see situations in a totally different light, with totally different stimuli, totally new and different perspective. Just because there's more humans without autism than autism, we call it a disability. And so I just thought that that was a really interesting take on your perception and your window and how you're interpreting your situation.
And I think that's a great example. I think in one other thought I have with this, and then we'll move to our elevator shout outs, is, in that quote, it says that your mind can convince you that you are terrible, right? And this is a common dilemma of a young adult, of any person, I think, is that the idea of imposter syndrome can settle in. Like, I shouldn't be in this room. I don't have what it takes. I'm not worth it. And it's all mind games. It's your mind playing games with itself based on prior experiences, but based on how you also talk to yourself and think about yourself. And I truly believe in the way we talk about mental fortitude, Sam, and self-awareness being the number one pillar of it, the first pillar, diving deeper into the things that you are and the things that you are not, and getting some grasp of that, I think can help you as you try to then navigate those difficult situations so that you don't feel terrible about yourself. You feel confident in yourself. And when you're confident in yourself because you've done the hard work that self-awareness needs, then you can begin to build on that foundation of mental fortitude, build your vision, and continue to do the things that inspire you and fuel you. And that's how you elevate.
Couldn't agree more. I love it. All right, we ready for shout-outs, Parker? All righty. I have elevator number 125, Sarah Fitz, amateur comedian and now the host of Punch Up Comedy in Washington, D.C. Their first open mic where Sarah is taking over happened on Tuesday, the 26th. And we are so proud of you for this new role. She's going to take Punch Up Comedy to the new next level. Way to go, Sarah. We're proud of you.
I need to get myself in a room with her while she's, about to speak or get on a mic. I mean, she sounds pretty... She is funny. She's pretty funny. She's very funny. All right. Next up, shout out for Elevator. Let's get this number right. Oh my God, where is it? Elevator 131, Harris Fanneroff. Elevation Nation, I don't know if you've seen, but Sam and I posted on LinkedIn this week, and our guy Harris is a big LinkedIn poster. He's what they would call a LinkedIn influencer, and he's inspired us to start writing. So shout out Harris for that inspiration, but also keep a lookout. Sam and I are going to be sharing some of our learnings, our thoughts, our perspectives on what we talk about on the podcast and who we meet in the real world, but then all the other things that are top of mind. And we're going to be sharing it in a new way. So like, share, comment, tell us that it was shitty, it was amazing, it made you laugh, it made you cry. We want to hear all about it.
Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.